educated world. Oh my God. It's just so easy to mock, you know? And I wish it wasn't. This was what Mrs. Lingner taught us in 5th grade, is known as the bandwagon argument. It's essentially the same thing as, well, all your friends are jumping off a bridge, so why don't you? You know? all these people in this giant group of people are doing it, so why wouldn't you join along? Obviously, it couldn't cause any harm. That's called the bandwagon approach. Another approach is the celebrity approach, which the left is experts at. I mean, they've been playing this card for 100 years now. You know, they've basically owned Hollywood since its inception. The left. And it's become more and more and more of an echo chamber for their most extreme fucking ideological positions. My God. Don't come at me with this shit, Jason. I don't want to fucking school you, man. He's proven that he doesn't care about me or anybody. All he cares about is which side of the aisle you fall on. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter if you're black, Mexican, gay, trans, whatever. If you're leaning right, or anybody could say or associate you with having leaned right at any point in your life, then, you know, he hates you. He hopes you get tuberculosis. He hopes you get measles. He can't wait because it'll be so great to see it hit you and your loved ones. He hopes you get fucked over for entire years. This is crazy. Oh my God, dude. What degeneracy. This is an argument for not going to college, for not becoming the educated world. If I become like this from being a part of the educated world, I'd way rather not be a part of any of that shit. They on the left, you know, like Hillbilly Elegy made highlight of this, how they on the left constantly call the right rednecks and hillbillies and, you know, bunch of southern backwoods know nothings, right? It's ridiculous. Makes no fucking sense. They choose to pit themselves against everybody with a southern accent because they hate conservatives that much. They choose to pit themselves against all the Mexicans and all the immigrants of America who came here legally. And because they had to go through such hurdles and earn it and work for it and appreciate it all the more, want other people to also go through that same process as being fucking hateful of Mexicans and bigots and all this. Just pit yourselves against all those people too, right? The black people who talk about black on black crime being one of the #1 causes of death in their own community, you know? Well, everybody bitches in the mainstream sphere and in all the mainstream media and in the government and in the organizations and in the institutions and in the schools about police discrimination and racial bias. And Roland Fryer, the second youngest Harvard professor, debunked that like crazy when he thought he would be making a bunch of friends who agreed with him after they'd been saying this for decades. It's like, oh, I'm just going to prove what everybody's been saying all along, which, you know, goes to the fucking his mindset here, right? Everyone's saying it, so it must be true, which, you know. And the mindset of a lot of people who just haven't woken up to certain issues. It's not indicative always of evil, for fuck's sake, you know? Or knowing what's going on in the corrupt. Like, these people are good at what they do, brainwashing you, man. They've spent trillions of dollars doing it. They made sure it's on every screen you see. That all your fucking peers are fucking spouting the same language. That you're in such a fucking echo chamber you could never fucking... that you would target everybody as an enemy before you learn a single truth. It's crazy. And you sit here about fucking renowned economists. I don't care how renowned somebody is. They can be a shill. Norman Finkelstein is a renowned fucking Jew who gets into every single speech he does to shit on Israel and say how much he basically hates Jews, and then admit that his own family, after surviving the Holocaust, which he leans on. Oh, it's so ugly, my God, it is. I don't even want to get into that, but it's just, you know, like he's, you know, being popular, being renowned, that doesn't fucking mean anything. That's celebrity again. Once again, that's the celebrity approach. Hey, look, this familiar face you've seen on mainstream TV all the time that's like super friendly, like Robin Williams or Brad Pitt, or, you know, they want you to buy the product and they would approve it and they support it too. They would put it in their own food or on their own body, or, you know, and it's like, you know what they're doing. A kid can be... I was in 5th grade when this was explained to me. I thought about this for the rest of my life. It still comes back to me now, you know? The celebrity approach, the bandwagon approach, the checking your sources thing. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lingner. My 5th grade teacher of Bennington Elementary. Oh my God, thank you. It's not as if I, you know, there's no possible way I could have learned that without you, but I'm glad I learned it that early. The gaslighting, the condescension, the hate, the vitriol, the ad hominem attacks, and over what? It's like, hey man, that's some cool information you got there. Can you tell me where you got it? No! You're a bastard. Why would I do that? You're just trying to discredit me. You didn't give yourself credit, bro. You didn't give the people you're fucking forwarding the messages of, that obviously you didn't come up with yourself, credit either. So, what the fuck is there to discredit? He obviously doesn't like that I'm being this strong-headed about it, but, like, I'm not gonna fucking beat around the bush. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for him. You know? I'm not gonna fucking put in 100 verbal workarounds that take away from the actual subject and keep one from learning what the fuck it's actually about. That's a leftist fucking thing. It's a fucking obstruction tactic, you know? It's to diverge people from the actual fucking real conversation going on, the true controversy. It's like people saying, you know, people just talking about the fucking dance or whatever and leaving out that Serena Williams is basically standing on the grave of her dead sister for money and attention and fame and reach with different audiences and pandering to the culture, you know? And that's fucked up. And all the mainstream fucking articles on social media and online and undoubtedly on, you know, TV and air and stuff, you know, live television, are all not talking about that purposely. They know that's the real controversy, and that's why they're not talking about it. They're acting like this other thing is the controversy. No, how about her sister got killed by Crip gang members, and then she did their gang walk that they do after killing somebody, glorifying it on national television for what it gains her. He probably thinks that there were no Haitian migrants causing any hell in that fucking, what the hell was that town? Newport? Can't remember now. Springfield. I think it was it Springfield? I can't fucking remember. Anyway, the cats and dogs thing, you know? There was a report from the mayor himself saying this was happening, and then he recanted, and the media was like, no, it's definitely not happening. Then why did he say it was? Why do town members say it's happening? Why are there independent journalists showing up there with, like, they're almost nothing, you know, but just so interested in the story? They're like, you know, I have a spare $100. I'll travel fucking 3 states, you know, go take my extra time to fucking use my camera and see what's going on and ask some people questions, as much as I don't want to do that and uncomfortable as it's going to make me and them to figure out what's going on. Why is that happening, Jason? Because the cats and dogs thing is just a made-up lie, really? Fucking asshole. Ignore the real victims. Ignore the real interviews. You know? And in some sense, you're not even an asshole for it. You've been trained to. That's what your left-wing colleges do. Your educated world does in America. It's all part of the system. It's why Doge is going to tear that shit apart. And your whole worldview is going to come fucking crashing down so hard, you know, for someone who's seems so eager to throw it in people's faces, how bad things are going to come their way. And, you know, it's funny because I don't think it's going to be a bad thing for you to wake up. I don't think it's going to feel like being fucked over. At least, you know, once you get over the initial knee-jerk reaction to it, you know? It'll be a good thing for your life. And I hope that happens to you. It's what a stark contrast from where you're coming from, man. You want my life to suffer? You want every person who's ever not hated Trump? It's not about supporting Trump. It's about not hating him. You clearly hate the guy. You have this insane personal hate for him that you can't separate from everything else. It's why they call it derangement syndrome. I don't. And you've chosen to target me for that. Not because I support the guy, you know? My support, if you call it that, has been almost nil, even through the years now that I've thought he would be a good president, you know? I talk about things, support. What do you... I've never paid anyone. I've never made any donations. I don't do speeches. I don't make associations to help this group. I don't care about any of that. I've never done any of it. So support would be a weird word. And it wouldn't be accurate. And he wouldn't have any proof that that's the case to begin with. Support, you know, it's a weird way of, depending on how you look at the word, it's a weird way of looking at it, you know. I don't hate the guy. I realize he could do good things for the country, and that, like anybody else, he's got flaws and he's made mistakes, and there are things that you could not like about him, but that doesn't change the good things that he's done, or the fact that the media loved the guy for like 40 fucking years continuously, until he decided to not be a rhino and run as an actual Republican president. And then they turned on him overnight. The same people who loved him for decades who never had anything bad to say about the guy were coming out with things you couldn't even actually believe. And you just had to wonder, like, if this was true all this time, you believed this, you thought this about them, why didn't you say it 5 years ago, or a year ago, or 10 years ago, or 12 and a half years ago when that story happened, or when this other thing? Why now? You know, were you all just a bunch of fucking cowards who knew this stuff was going on and didn't matter to you as long as you got yours? Or you're just fucking lying? And people like Jason, unfortunately, haven't stopped to ask themselves that question. Why would that be? They haven't stopped to ask themselves, like, how come rappers and black people for fucking 30 years now, on the cover of Forbes magazine, all the other, he was associated with these groups and they loved him, and he was in their rap songs and their hip-hop songs, and the black community loved him. Al Jackson gave him an award in 1999 called the Rainbow Award for all he had done for the black community, and he's a really prominent black leader of America. You know, like, he's helped sue other businesses in Florida that wouldn't allow black customers into their business, and made a point that anybody of any skin color was welcome in all of his businesses in Mar-a-Lago and wherever. You don't know any of these things. You don't remember them. You've let the media brainwash you into thinking anybody that says they even happened is lying. You're the one nobody can speak sense to, man. You're the one that, if you haven't seen it by now, if you don't get it, everyone's been trying to tell you. You just won't hear from them. You won't listen to them. You've been trained to make them your enemy, to make them the bad guy, to throw the moral bullying tactics, to use the ad hominem attacks, and pull the whataboutisms about this victim or that victim that's completely off the topic you started on because you can't engage with it. I'd say have a debate with me, you know, but looking at what I'm seeing in here, it'd just be such a total waste of my fucking time. There'd be no genuine, authentic desire to actually have a good faith, as they call it in politics, a good faith conversation. You wouldn't be there to, like, engage the things I'm saying, just to bring up some other thing, distract off of everything you can't win that side of the argument for. I could engage in every single thing you say, and then when I try to bring it back to the point I was trying to make, you'd want to walk off. You'd want to bring it to something else. You'd want to distract from it like you're doing here. It's what you're doing, man. You can't engage in any of the things that I said, including just the most basic part of it being a source of information. The educated world. Oh my God. It's just so easy to mock, you know? And I wish it wasn't.